Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. A few weeks ago I unboxed my very first purchase from AliExpress, and I chose to get a Homage watch, a Homage of the Rolex Explorer. Now if you go on AliExpress, you know there are many different brands. I chose to go with this brand called Bliger, and I picked up their Explorer Homage. I can't say exactly why I went with them as opposed to others, except that it looked like they made a quality piece, and if you watched my unboxing you know that my first impressions were pretty good about this watch. But in today's video we're going to go a little bit deeper and do a full review of this piece and go into all the specs and features and the design of it, and basically just share my thoughts on what I think about this little homage of the Rolex Explorer from Bliger. So let's jump right into it. Alright, here's the watch on the table, and I did put some gloves on, not because this is the most expensive or valuable watch in the world, obviously, but simply because this case has high polishing on it and I don't want to be smudging it up throughout the video, so hopefully these gloves will help with that. But let's jump into some specs and features right off the bat with this watch. This is the model number as far as I could tell on AliExpress. They put a B156 for this watch, and the movement is a Miyota 8215, very well-known movement. We'll talk a little bit more about the movement in a moment. Crystal is sapphire, case material is stainless steel, case diameter is 39 millimeters, case thickness is 13 millimeters. Lug to lug distance is 48.5, but as I pointed out in the unboxing video, you can see that the links, these end links here, do protrude past the lugs, and so that distance, if you're interested, is 53.5 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters. The band material is stainless steel, and according to Bliger, this watch has a 30-meter water resistance rating, and the weight with all of the links is 150.5 grams. Now that Miyota movement, as I said, is very well known. I think you can purchase this watch with a different movement, but I believe the Miyota was the better one out of the two, and this Miyota movement is 21 joules. This particular one is not hacking, but it is hand winding. I've heard word that some of the newer Miyota 8215s are also hacking, but this one does not hack. It's 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it has a 40-hour power reserve. Now jumping into the design and durability of this watch, obviously the design is well known because it's a homage of the Rolex Explorer. Let me throw up a quick picture of the Explorer so we can get an idea of what we're talking about here, just in case you're not familiar. So there you have it. You can see that, yeah, very similar. So the design is very well known, and I think Bliger did a good job. I give them a well done, is what I was trying to say, on the job that they've done with this homage. As far as I can tell, it seems pretty good quality for the price that you're paying. The case and the bezel, as you can see, are very high polished, almost like a mirror-like finish to them, and so it does scratch easily. I've already got some scratches on this case, and it does definitely smudge up really easy with fingerprints. The case back is very plain and simple. You know, it got some heavy brush strokes there in the center. There is a polished ring as well, but very simple case back. The lugs have a slight curvature to them, not too much, not very pronounced, but the watch is definitely comfortable on the wrist, and especially for someone with smaller wrists like mine, it fits well, as you can see in the wrist shots. Very, very comfortable on the wrist. The crown is a screw down crown. It's about 7 millimeters in diameter. At the 0 position, I'll unscrew it here. The 0 position, you can hand wind the movement. The first position, there is a ghost date, as you can see, and then the second position is how you change the time. And as I noted in the unboxing, you can see if you go backwards, the second hand will go backwards sometimes as well and stop and jump around like that. As far as I know, it doesn't harm the movement, but just something to take note of, and I'm not sure that that's the case with all of these movements or not. The crown, there's no crown guards obviously, but you can see that it kind of does sit into the case a little bit. There is a slight cutout, you might say, so it hugs the case very nicely and tucks in there very well. The dial on this watch is one of my favorite things about this piece. I think they did a good job. Everything seems to line up very well. The indices are applied well. Nothing seems really crooked or any quality control issues. There is that deep black color dial. I'm not sure really how to explain it, but it kind of has a gloss to it. But it's pretty nice. And something about the dial, when you order this watch, you can order it without the branding on there. I decided to get it with Bliger written on the dial. I think it looks better that way. Without anything there, it looks kind of naked in a sense and just looks out of place. And plus, I like people to know that this is not a Rolex and it's not trying to be one. It's not trying to be a fake. It is branded with the Bliger brand there, but you can get one without it. Of course, there's also the word automatic, as you see, and I think the indices are well done, and the numerals that you see 3, 6, and 9 I think are well done as well. Nothing, as I mentioned, seems off in any way, so the quality control on this one is pretty good. The hands are nicely polished as well, and just with the naked eye, I don't see any problems with them either. So they did a good job on this piece. The crystal is slightly raised above the bezel, as you can see there, and it is sapphire, as we already mentioned. The lume, let's get a quick lume shot here and take a peek at that. But right off the bat, before we do that, I'll tell you it's a little underwhelming, but let's check it out. So I did charge it up a little bit, and that is a quick lume shot. I have no idea why, but as you can see, the numerals are like fading very, very quickly, and I don't know why they might put a lesser application of lume, but it seems like that's what they've done on the numerals. But the indices last a good bit longer, but just something to take note of. Definitely underwhelming with the lume. And jump into the bracelet. For the most part, this bracelet is well done. I can't really point out anything that is really a big problem with this bracelet. It's got a nice kind of brushed satin look to it. It's 20 millimeters at the case and tapers down nicely to 15.5 millimeters as I measured it. And the clasp is nice as well. It is a little hard, honestly, to pop open. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to rip my fingernail off getting it open. But once you do, you can see that it's a nice milled clasp, and you definitely have to pull on it pretty hard to get that latch to pop off. But in another sense, it's positive that it has a really nice positive click to it, and it holds it in there really well, but just sometimes hard to open, and hopefully over time it'll get a little bit easier. Then something also to note, they do have a glide lock feature here, and I've found that hard to use as well. It can be a little hard to pop out sometimes and put back. It can be a little bit difficult, as you can see. I can't really. Here we go. See, I can't even put that down here. Anyway, so let's try it. There, that's another position, but there you go. And another thing, you know, there are some sharp edges on this clasp here. I'm not sure if that's how it is with the real Rolex Explorer or not, but you could definitely, if you caught that just right, you know, take a chunk of skin out for sure. But overall, the clasp and the bracelet are well done, and is definitely a comfortable watch in regards to the bracelet as well. Let's talk about price real quick as we close down this video. On AliExpress is where I purchased this, and I think it's the only place you can purchase this particular watch. I got it for $72, shipped here, and you know, that was everything, and came pretty quick, came in a couple weeks. I was surprised about that, but $72 for what you get, I don't think is a bad price. I think it's pretty reasonable. But you guys let me know what you think, and also let me know what other Explorer homages are out there on AliExpress and how they compare to this one. But let me jump back in front of the camera and share my final verdict about this Bliger Rolex Explorer homage. Well, there you go. That's my full review of this Bliger Rolex Explorer homage, and as you can see, I like this piece. I think for the $72 price tag, what you get is pretty good, and if you're into homage watches, this might be a good choice for you. Now, there were a few negatives that I pointed out, things that weren't so good. You know, that glide lock was very hard to use. The clasp took a lot of force to open up. And that type of thing. What else was there? Yeah, the lume wasn't the greatest as well, but again, for the price point, if you're into homage type watches, this one might be a good choice for you. So I encourage you to check it out. I'll leave some links to where you can purchase this on AliExpress if you're interested. But let me know what you think of this watch. Are you into homages in general? And what do you think about this particular Rolex Explorer homage from Bliger? Do you think they did a good job compared to the real thing? And speaking of that, I hope that you'll stay tuned and stick with us on the channel. Please like this video and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, because in the future, I'm going to get a hold of a real, genuine Rolex Explorer from a friend of mine. And I'm going to do a full review on that watch, and then also compare it to this homage. That's a type of video you don't see too much. You see a lot of homage watches, but not a lot comparing to the actual real thing. And so I'm really excited about that, and hope you guys are too. So stay tuned for that video. But again, please leave a like on this video. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on J City Reviews.